Shalom, shalom. It's Sunday, August the 22nd, and does anyone else's garden look like this? It's just a little wild and a little overgrown, a little sad. It's the end of August, and everything's kind of just going a little crazy, especially with the rain we've had this past week. We've had a lot of rain, and this stuff has just grown exponentially. I can't even believe how much it's grown. All of the tomatoes are putting on new blooms. The peppers are putting on new blooms. I mean, all of them, just from the rain. It hasn't cooled down any. It is still really hot during the day and humid, but this is just the rain that has done this. And the lawn has greened back up, so I will be needing to mow that this week. Actually, the front is pretty tall where the crabgrass is. Ugh, I hate crabgrass. But it looks like I'm going to be picking some beans in the next couple of days. There's a lot of beans on there that's ready to be harvested. Unfortunately, a lot of them are all the way up there. We've got some beautiful peppers turning. These right here, we haven't got any really large green peppers or bell peppers. All of them have been kind of small, on the small side, but I mean, they're still good. I just stepped uphill. That's weird. So the tomatoes are looking a little rugged. So these are getting ready to need to be pulled out right here. And look, we have mushrooms, and those, when they're full out, they look like a breast. There's no polite way to put that. I did plant some right here, and there are some tomato suckers that I rooted out in the kitchen, in the windowsill. They're a little struggling a little in the heat. I just brought them out here and put them in a couple days ago, so I didn't really harden them off. They were in the windowsill, and now they're in the garden, so they're struggling a little with the heat, but they're doing okay. Better than I would be. Oh, here we go. They look like boobies. And they're in every bed except for some of the hot peppers. This tomato plant has put on a lot of growth this week also, and I have actually all of these plants have, and I had to tie them up. These over here did as well. I mean, they've shot up, I think, probably 2 foot this past week. These pepper plants have shot up at least a foot this week with all the rain. That's just amazing. These tomato plants are starting to get a little wild again. But I'm starting to get some, I've actually have harvested some, and there's some back there too. Look, there's some more of those mushrooms. This is the peppercini and the jalapeno bed, and they too are just kind of overflowing the sides. Now this is the Tigger melon, and it has made a comeback, and it has put on a new melon and some more blossoms. So maybe we'll get some Tigger melons. Right here we have a new watermelon that has grown a lot this week. I just walked into a spider's web. This one, not so much. This one over here, let's see, where are you at? Right there. It hasn't put on a lot. It's grown a little bit, but not a lot. This bed right here has put on a new flush of flowers as well. And look, I can't remember what that one is. I think that's a vine peach. I had one come on and then it like died. It dried up and died. But it is. These are not really good climbers, I can tell you that. I think they would much rather sprawl along the ground. I don't see any vine peaches on here. I could, oh, yep, right there. I don't know if you can see right there. I've kind of let the weeds grow around the edge of the beds too. And these are just, the jalapenos have not done really well this year at all. Excuse me. They just haven't. I mean, they just haven't done well. They haven't grown a lot. They haven't produced a lot. What they are producing is good, but they just haven't produced a lot. I've been getting some goji berries off of this. Wow, I really need to get cleaned up back here. But I just have a feeling with the heat, and so protect yourself in the heat. It can be dangerous. So that's why I've not been out here keeping up with the garden as much when it's really hot. It's just, it's not worth risking my life. It's not. So, I work when I can, and when it's not really hot out here. Ordinarily, I would be out here working a lot more, but you know, you have to be safe. So, yeah, safety is the most important thing. I mean, if the garden looks a little wild for a little while, I'm learning to be okay with that. So these tomatoes are, I mean, they've really put on, I had to tie them up. They got some more blossoms on them up here. These are the ones that I'm thinking the deer or whatever critter it was that was stealing tomatoes was stealing them off of this bed and never touched this one. Maybe they didn't see the tomatoes. It only had a few tomatoes down here. So maybe they didn't see them, but it killed. They stole all of the large tomatoes off of this one, but only the green ones, which is kind of weird because deer are really usually not that picky. A bird just dive bombed me. They must have a nest around here somewhere, which wouldn't surprise me because it's wild. The wild happenings in the garden. So, one thing I know that I'm going to do different next year is this rubber. I love the look of it, but the problem is it's not allowing the ground underneath to dry out. So the ground underneath is mushy, kind of swampy, and our house was built over, this whole area is near the river, and we used to have, before they built these houses here, it used to be a dump, and so they would, they come in, they put in a bunch of fill dirt and built the houses here for people who worked in the plant down there. And so every time it rains, the ground just throws up. It's like it's vomiting glass and car parts and all kinds of things. So I picked up a whole handful of broken glass right here. I'm about to walk through a puddle. Right here in front of this pile of wood chips right there. Around that tree is usually where we have all the stuff being vomited up out of the ground. So yeah, you can't walk out here barefoot. But it's slowly cleaning up. But the type of that type of soil is almost like a black clay. It's if it were dry, I could show you. It gets huge cracks in it, just like clay does when it dries out. And you can like see down like 4 or 5 inches where it's cracked. And then when it rains, it swells back up and it covers the hole again. So it's just kind of weird. I've never seen black clay before, but I've lived with red clay. With my first husband, we had red clay, and it acts the same way as the red clay did. But it's really black, and it looks like it's a rich soil, but it's really hard to get anything to grow in it, except for crabgrass, because it's so compacted and dries out so easy. But when it's wet, it stays soggy. So I'm thinking about trying to use some sand maybe to help amend the yard part, and not sure what I'm going to replace these black tar, because I really do like the black look. Possibly the yard fabric, maybe a better brand, a thicker one, a yard fabric, so it can still at least dry out. And then possibly put some sand on top of that back here. I think that might help deter some of the weeds, but I'm going to do some research and see. So it's a little bit of a jungle back here. So I need to start taming that down a little bit this week. All the rain that we've had, the grass has come back and it is growing. So if I don't mow it this week, it'll be next week for sure. That'll have to be done in the morning while it's cool, before it gets hot. Probably while the ground's still wet, which makes it a little bit harder, because sometimes if the grass is really tall, it will bog down the mower. Look, there's some mushrooms. Or maybe they're just babies of the other ones. I'll watch those and see. So there's not a whole lot new, and except for that, it's looking a little wild and a little bushy. I do love the beds, how they look, but I'm in agreement with Todd. If we do it again, we're going to do all long beds. So the sheets like this one is actually 2 sheets put together, but the length of 1 sheet, because that would be a lot easier, I think. Easier on him because he doesn't have to cut it. It'll be easier on him to make them, but also it'll be easier. It'll look, I think, a lot better to have a full growing area. So, but that's not going to happen here. So we just don't have the property for that. Yeah, this alleyway right here actually belongs to the city. And we're able to use it. We have to take care of it, and if I have to take care of it, by gosh, I'm going to use it. So if I'm the one that has to mow it and cut the trees down and all that stuff, I'm going to take care of it. They could come in and put a road in. I don't know why they would. So there is an alleyway here, and we are able to use it, but we don't put anything permanent on it. So, and as you can see, my neighbors have boxed off, except for those at the very back. They have blocked it, and This neighbor over here has blocked it on both sides. So that's permanent. If the city comes and takes it, then they would lose that, whatever they spend in the fencing. I was thinking about right here, just put in a gate that would go across it to try to deter the rabbits and the deer and things like that. But still thinking about that. So, or possibly one of the temporary fences. I'll be doggone. There's a squirrel. That's the first one I've seen since the trees have come down. Oh, pesky critters. That will do it for today's tour. Yahuah bless you and keep you and give you shalom. Until next time, Yah bless.